Welcome to the talk show Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields in academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Hip-hop gamer Gerard Williams is today's guest. Gerard will talk about rapping, gaming, and his experiences on his way to the top of his game.
Hip-hop gamer Gerard Williams, welcome to Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.
Yo, dog, you already know what it is, man. It's the go to the game, hip-hop gamer. I'm with my man, Marc Hoberman. Let's get it popping with these life lessons, son. It's ready. We ready. Let's go, dog.
Let's go. Gerard, look, if you're going to be boring and calm, this isn't going to work for me. So it's so great to have you on the show, Gerard. You know, Gerard, many youngsters identify with certain genres of music throughout their lives. But what made you take that love of rap music and make it such an integral part of your adult life?
Yo, it's what I grew up on. You know what I'm saying? So, like, one of the things about hip hop that really, like, touched me for real was the ability to have a certain level of freedom to say what you want to say. When coming up, you didn't have that freedom to say what you want to say. But musically, through hip hop, it gave us a different type of voice. So that right there was the first thing. I was like, yo, I love hip hop. I just love how real and how raw and how truthful, it is. You know what I'm saying? Especially coming up back in the days with KRS-One, Rakim and stuff like that. Like it meant something. There was a message to it. So that was one. Two, I love the creativity of it, because like one of the things, especially as a kid, you never should lose your passion to dream, and hip hop was so creative, putting these words together and learning the meaning of a lot of these words and the syllables and the triple entendres. Like it was like putting a puzzle together lyrically. So I love that part of it too. And three, style. I love the style of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It actually gave you an identity every time you walk in a room or when you go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So hip hop is life, man. It's life, yo. So yeah, that's what drew me into it, man. Just the culture and the creativity and the truth in the message and the way they deliver that message lyrically.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the word culture, because that was going to be my next question. I was lucky enough to interview Curtis Blow several months ago. Pretty much like the creator of hip hop, a legend in his own right. And hip hop really is a culture. And what do people not know about hip hop that you can tell us about hip hop?
Yo, such a great question. I love it. So one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand about hip hop is that I don't think they understand how true the stories are and why they speak on the things that they speak on. Because it's one thing to watch hip hop, then there's another thing to live hip hop. So case in point, when NWA came out, you know what I'm saying? And they was like straight out of Compton, the crazy, and then you got people that's watching that's never been to Compton, never lived in Compton, that don't understand why they saying what they're saying, but they just see this rebellion. And that's what they identify with. A lot of people, we don't want to be told what to do. We want to do whatever we want to do. And we got that rebellious nature. But with what hip hop does, it showed you behind the scenes, the raw, the things that you wouldn't see on channel, 9 News at night. You know what I mean? So one of the, some of the oppression that we had to deal with, hip hop allowed us to fight back with it verbally. They would say freedom of speech, and then when we use our speech, they try to lock us up for it. You understand what I'm saying? So to me, what a lot of people didn't understand is that what we were saying, it was another way for us to fight for our lives, because we didn't have any other way to fight and win. So hip hop literally gave us an opportunity to finally throw back some jabs, some combos, and some haymakers, so we can actually breathe and live our lives and tell our stories authentically, instead of having somebody else tell our story to make us look like somebody we're not. So that, to me, is the importance of hip hop and the culture of it, and what people may not understand from the outside looking in. So before you judge, have some empathy, just walk a little bit in our shoes to understand where we're coming from. And then regardless of if you think it's right or wrong, when your back is against the wall, all you're trying to do is survive. And when you're trying to survive, it could come out any kind of way, but the goal is to live. And hip hop allowed us to live.
Well, I have to tell you that I'm a big believer in education, and sometimes less is more, that you don't have to say so much. You just gave us, I think, a mini documentary, because that's probably the best answer to that question I've ever heard. And in the middle of it, I almost forgot you were talking about hip hop. What I think hip hop is, it's definitely not just music. So thank you so much for that. So you've kind of melded some things together here. So you're not hip hop, you're not the gamer, you're the hip hop gamer.
Yes.
So gaming is so much more than games. I know this from my sons. When I used to play games, I don't want to tell you how old I am, but the game, back and forth with
Pong. Yeah, Pong. Trust me, like I'm a gamer, dog. I do
yes,
this at the highest level.
Definitely. That's old school. I couldn't remember the name of it. But, that was, oh my God. My kids started to get games 15, 20 years ago. And they would start opening them up and they would play it. And I said, what about the instructions? They looked at me like I had 3 heads. Instructions? I mean, who needs instructions? I'm like, how can you do a game without instructions? So it's just, it has so blown up. I can't say 1,000 times. That would be not saying enough about it. So if gaming is so much more than games, what is it about gaming that many parents just don't understand?
Well, you know what? That's a great question too. So I'm gonna bring it to you like this. My grandmother, right? She's the one who taught me how to play video games when I was 4 years old. So I've been playing video games all my life, and now it's officially my career. Now, my grandmother was a hardcore gamer to the point where her favorite character ever is Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. And back in the day, we had Prima strategy guides, and my grandmother discovered things in some Tomb Raider games that was not in the Prima strategy guide, and she wrote her own strategy guide, and I still have it like in a box, like to this day. You know what I'm saying? Her favorite character was Bullrog in Street Fighter. She loved Mortal Kombat, Grand Theft Auto, Donkey Kong, Hubsby, like Hubert, you name it, she played it and stuff like that. But the dope thing about gaming, in terms of the way my grandmother brought it to me, my grandmother taught me about life through video games, and she did it in such a subtle way where I can receive it and digest it, but it was so powerful at the same time. Now that now that I look back as a man now. So what she did was she said, look, in life, just like in these video games, you're going to have different objectives, different challenges, and things that you're trying to achieve. If you apply the same energy and love and dedication that you have for these video games and how you able to master these video games, if you apply that to your daily life, you will find your purpose and you will win and you will have a prosperous life. And the beautiful thing about that is, if you look on my chain right here, it also says God first. So my grandmother, she taught me about games and she taught me about my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So that combination has allowed me to thrive in my life in ways that I could never imagine. But gaming was the spark plug that allowed me to understand my own value and develop the character is your currency and develop these things that you see today. So yeah, like gaming is very important. And what a lot of parents don't understand is that they came up in a different era. When they was 5 years old, gaming wasn't even, around like that. And then when gaming did come around, it was always marketed as like this kid's toy and stuff like that. So if you playing games too much, it's going to mess up your mind. You're never going to amount to anything. Like, that was the mentality in terms of the way they was brought up. But one of the things that parents got to understand is that, like, you're 40 and 50 years old right now. Your child is growing up, and they growing up with iPhones and Androids and tablets, and it's a different world. So you have to teach them what you know, but you also have to be willing to listen to understand what they know, because y'all growing up in different times.
Well, I think that's incredible. That answer should be transcribed and turned into a blog article, because that was really incredible. But if someone said to me, Mark, what is the one sentence you can guarantee that HipHopGamer Gerard Williams would not say today? I said, well, there's no way he's going to say to me, my grandmother was a gamer. So that is incredible. But, and I think, and when we talked about this on a phone call previously, that I love when I have different connections with certain things and certain guests. So as I told you, my grandfather, who must have written this song or composed this song 75 years ago, there's a song on Fallout Las Vegas. You get to a certain level in Las Vegas and it's called Sleepy Town Blues. That was written by my grandfather, Harry Lubin, which I didn't realize till about 6 years ago. So just that was so interesting. Also, I had a former student who our mutual friend who put us together, Dion Moore, knew. Phil Bogle played for the Philadelphia Eagles for 3 years and also is very high in the administration of the NFL now. And he met my kids. And interestingly, they were screaming one day. I went down and they were playing Madden football and Phil Bogle was on the team. Like you said to me, you're in video games. So there's just so much more to it. And quite honestly, I wish I knew. I was never crazy about yelling at them not to play games that much, but I was like everybody else and saying, hey, you know, cut it down, this and that. I wish I knew then what you just told me now. So thank you for that. It's really liquid gold there. So let's talk about relationships. What can you tell me about your relationship with Hot 97?
So this right here is insane. Another great question, right? So I used to work in the mailroom, right? From 2000 to 2014. Now, I'm in the mailroom. Now, just to let you know, before HipHopGamer came around and stuff like that, in terms of my business and my brand, you know, my name being trademarked and stuff like that, they used to call me Jackal, right? And I used to rap, and it used to be just straight hardcore gangster rap and all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? And they used to call me Jackal back in the day, right? So when shout out to my uncle Clayton, he was the manager for this temp agency called Adeco, and he got me a job at Interscope Records, right, in the mailroom. Now I'm just a temp, right? So I'm there and working my way up. So they had me in the mailroom, then they had me doing maintenance, and then so I'm learning the building and everything like that. And I did such a good job when they put me back to the mailroom because my maintenance, I'm not one of those guys, dog. I can't fix nothing. I could barely bang a hammer with a nail. Like I can't do nothing. But the funny thing is, when they put me back in the mailroom, I did such a good job that they wanted to hire me permanently. And then there's a company called Pitney Bowes that does all the mailroom stuff. And then I landed my position in the mailroom. And then I became the supervisor of the mailroom of all the record labels. So this is Universal Music Group, Interscope Records, Murder Inc., Rockefeller, Def Jam, all of them. So I'm seeing everybody every day, and I know all the marketing people and all the people behind the scenes, like the Monty Lippmans of the world, Steve Bartles, Mike Kaiser, Tata, which is Jay-Z's right-hand man. Like, I know all these people. It's crazy. So there's a gentleman, his name is Davey D, right? And he worked at Universal Republic, right? So it started getting crazy because before the Hot 97 stuff, I would be doing so many YouTube videos and things of that nature because I started in 2008, you know, so I'm doing all these videos. And what happened is I started doing big interviews with like big time celebrities. So I had Denzel Washington on the show, Ryan Reynolds, like all these major artists before I was even on Hot 97. So, and I would tell everybody about it, show it to them and everything. And Davey D was like, yo, bro, you got to get out of here. And I was like, what you mean? Like, yo, Hot 97 could really utilize someone like you because they got a lot of competition from Power 105 and stuff. And you could bring the gaming thing to Hot 97. It'll blow up. It'll be big, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yo, well, like, you know, I'm open. You know what I mean? I would love to, you know, like, how can we make this work? So what happened is he planted the seed on like the Hot 97 idea and stuff like that. And at this time, I'm HipHopGamer now. You know what I mean? At this time. So I'm like, hip hop, Hot 97, that'll be the perfect partner. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the home of hip hop right there. Like, you know, like we got to figure this out. So lo and behold, this is how you know God is God. Yo, God is incredible. I get an email, bro, from Facebook about a new game that they're doing called Gig It, right? And Neo, the R&B star Neo was the face, like the cover boy, you know what I'm saying, of the Gig It game. And they reached out to me and they had a whole bunch of artists like 2 Chainz and Nas and Rick Ross. They was doing this big event. Mark Zuckerberg's sister, Randy Zuckerberg, was there. Like, it was huge, man. So they invited me out to come do interviews on the red carpet. Lo and behold, Ebro, Peter Rosenberg, everybody's on the red carpet, right? So I interview Peter Rosenberg, and it was like, honestly, for like 2.5 minutes. It was really, really, really quick. I can actually show you the footage, yo. Like, it's so old, but I can show you the footage. But it was like 2.5 minutes, right? And when I did this interview, it was around the time that Peter Rosenberg and Nicki Minaj was having a beef over her song Starship something, because they were saying it was like poppy, it wasn't hip hop, you know what I mean? So they was going back and forth at it, and we was talking about it. The interview was so great that they wanted me to come back to the office and finish the interview, because the interview was really, really good and we hit it off well. So I asked them, I was like, yo, how come y'all don't have gaming at Hot 97? Like, gaming is the biggest thing. Y'all, y'all the biggest thing in hip hop. How come y'all don't have it? And they was like, well, like, it's not what we do. I was like, yo, let's talk, because this is what I do and I could blow this up and blah, blah, blah. So had a meeting at Hot 97. And from there, that's when they gave me the opportunity to start putting out my content on the website. And that's how I started 2013, 2012 or 20, yeah, I think 2013 with Hot 97, because the big thing was in 2013, that's when the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One was coming out. And we did this big GameStop video, Hot 97, Grand Theft Auto, all the type of stuff. And then never looked back ever since. And I've been with them ever since. Yep.
That's incredible.
Crazy.
Yeah. Amazing story, because I pride myself in, when I interview people, is letting the audience, let them learn the story behind the glory. And the mailroom is where that started. Everybody thinks they're going to get out of school and bam, where's my radio station? And where's my parties with all the celebs and things like that? And you really started from the ground level, which I think is incredible. I do want to switch gears for a moment here. I believe there's like an element of anti-bullying messages in some of the things you do, some of your gaming connections, some of your school programs. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so the program that I got is called Playmakers, right? And within Playmakers, I have an assembly called Character is Your Currency. So what I try to do is let a lot of kids know, and not just kids, adults too, because I do this at college as well. So it's very important. But a lot of people don't understand how valuable they really are. And if you don't understand your value, the world will place their values on you. And then you feel like you're trapped and you don't know who you are. So you got to be careful with that. So character is your currency is how I utilize gaming and other forms and other different mediums to make a lot of kids understand how valuable they truly are. So to give you an example of one of the ways that I do this is the last assembly that I did, right? I had this boy and this girl come up, call their names, everything. Everybody's going crazy. The whole, auditorium is going crazy, right? So I had them play NBA 2K Playgrounds against each other, right? And I'm actually a character in that game, the NBA 2K Playground series. So they played and the girl won, right? And when she won $200. And I asked her, I said, hey, are you willing to share what you just won? And we went to the audience, and some of the audience like, yeah, share. A lot of the audience like, no, keep it for yourself. And then ultimately, in this scenario, she decided to not share and keep all the money to herself, which is within her right. She won it. Now, what I told her is, I was like, peep game. I said, even though she won and she got the $200, but she wasn't willing to share, she wouldn't have had anything if it wasn't for that kid's participation. And then everybody was like, wow. Like it was like you could cut the tension with a knife, because a lot of people, and everybody know it, has this me, I want type of mentality, not realizing you can have more together. And you can have more when you share. And what I told her is that if you would have been willing to share, you would have got double the money. So instead of 200, you would have 400, and then 100 would have went to him, and you'd have left at 300, and you'd have had a lot more, just because you was willing to share. So when I talk about characters, your currency, and learning that lesson through a video game, it changes the value of everything that we're doing together, but it also builds the value and builds the character of someone so they can understand the power that they got whenever they walk into a room. Their very existence is powerful. You made in the image of God, yo. This is amazing right here. But you have to know that you're amazing. And that's one of the ways that I do it. Now, another scenario that I did with Characters Your Currency, I did the same scenario, but what's interesting is when I spoke to the kid was 12 years old, and I asked him, what is he going to do with the money? And he said, I'm going to give it to, my grandma because, she needs help, and I just want to make sure that she's okay. And to be 12 years old and to be raised with that type of empathy and care and selflessness, he got double the money and was blown away. He's like, yo, he couldn't believe it. And he didn't know that he was going to show up today, play a game, and leave with $400 to help his family. But it wasn't about the money. It was the fact that who he was is why he got what he got. It wasn't so much that I just won a game and that's why I'm giving this to you. Because of your character, you was able to see your full potential and get what you're worth. And that's pretty much what I want to educate people on, that who you are is the value, and everything else that you would acquire is just a byproduct of that value. And I utilize video games to bring that value out.
HipHopGamer Gerard Williams, I can't thank you enough for joining us today, sharing a successful journey in music and in gaming and in Playmakers. And to the viewers, don't forget to watch us on E360, available on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. Remember to follow us on social media. Life Stories with Marc Hoberman is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Remember, learn the story behind the glory. We're on TikTok and, of course, our YouTube channel, Gerard Williams, Hip Hop Gamer. Thank you so much for being here today.
Let's get it, baby. Life lesson has been learned. Let's get it, baby, and be out of here. Mark, what up?
Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. To contact Marc, email him at info@lifestorieswithmarchoberman.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.